I first discovered dark in a Swiss village at the top of the Alps. There were no arc lights along the railroad tracks in that valley below us. There were no lit up windows in the chalets above us either. There was nothing but black night. Oh, a few faraway stars, but no moon. The mountains were surely there. I could feel them behind me, but I could not see them. For an American accustomed to cities that never sleep and endless blinking strips of neon madness everywhere, dark was a shocking experience. I was standing on the edge of the planet somewhere, surrounded only by black nothingness. I was alone, or was I? The question has an urgency to it. It carries within itself the foundations of morality, the purpose of life. God is, God must be, my mind insists, in the face of this complex universe and my own reflective consciousness. But where? There is no age that has not dealt with that question. There's no tradition that has not wrestled with that problem. To the Hindu, all life came from a single source. Therefore, God is in everything. To the Buddhist, we live to put on the eternal Buddha nature. So there is eternal wholeness. To the Jew, God is outside of creation, but intervenes in it and guides it. So we are not alone. To the Muslim, God is present everywhere. And to the Christian, to us, God's Spirit, the Spirit that is God, permeates this universe. Then why do I not see it? The Sufi tale puts it this way. How does one seek union with God? The seeker asks. And the Holy One answered, the harder you seek, the more distance you create between God and you. So what does one do about the distance? The speaker persisted. And the Holy One answered, understand that it isn't there. Does that mean that God and I are one? The seeker persisted. Not one, the Holy answered. Not two. But how is that possible? The seeker cried, dismayed. And the Holy One answered, the sun and its light, the ocean and its wave, the singer and her song. Not one, not two. The Holy One makes the point, God and I are not the same thing, but God is the essence of everything that is. Or to put it another way, a heathen asked Rabbi Joshua, why did God speak to Moses from the thorn bush? And Rabbi Joshua replied, God spoke from the thorn bush to teach us that there is no place where the divine presence is absent, not even in a thorn bush. God, in other words, is everywhere, as truly in those things where we are sure that God is missing, as in those things which we are sure are infallible signs of the presence of God. The presence of God does not depend on an act of God's will. It depends simply on our own realization that where I am, God is. The challenge then is to come to the point that where God is, I am. Wherever, whenever. It's not a case of God being present to me. It's a case of my being present to God. There is no degree of darkness that is not filled with the light that is God. It simply depends on our ability to see. And seeing takes concentration, takes contemplation, takes consciousness. Amos and Cletica, one of the desert mothers of the 4th century, said, in the beginning of faith there is struggle and a lot of work, for those who desire to come near to God. But after that, there is indescribable joy. It's just like building a fire, she said. At first it's smoky and your eyes water, but later you get the desired result. But first, she goes on, we must light the divine fire in ourselves with desire and with effort. The important thing to remember in the spiritual life is that religion is a means, not an end. When we stop at the level of the rules and the laws, the doctrines and the dogmas, good guides as these may be, and call those things the spiritual life, we have stopped far short of faith. Faith is the ability to see beyond all the things we make God to find God. We make religion God, and so we fail to see godliness where our own religion is not, though the God of life and goodness are clear and constant in the simplest of people, the remotest of places. We make national honor God, and fail to see the presence of God in other nations, particularly non-Christian nations. We make personal security God, and fail to see God in the bleak and barren dimensions of life. We make our own human color the color of God, and fail to see God in the one who comes in different guise. We give God gender and miss the Spirit of God everywhere in everyone. We separate spirit and matter as if they were two different things, though we know now from quantum physics that matter is simply fields of force made dense by the spirit of energy. We are one with the universe, in other words. We are not separate from it or different from it. We are not above it. We are in it. All of us and everything swimming in an energy that is God. To be enlightened, to have faith, is simply to see behind the forms to the God who holds those forms in being. To have faith is to be in touch with the God within us and around us more than it is to be engulfed in any single way, any one manifestation, any specific denominational or nationalistic construct, however good and well-intentioned it may be. It's a practice in many of our Benedictine monasteries, after bowing to the altar, to turn and bow to the sister walking in procession with you as you enter chapel for prayer. The meaning of such a monastic custom is clear. God is as much in the world around us, we remind ourselves, as much in one another as on that altar or in that chapel. God is the stuff of our lives, the breath of our very souls, calling us always to a heightened understanding of life in all its forms. To have faith is to know that heaven is not coming. Heaven is here, starts here, is now. We have simply not been able to realize that yet because, like King Arthur and his search for the Holy Grail, we too often look in all the wrong places, worship all the wrong idols, get fixated on all the wrong notions of God. We are always on our way to somewhere else to find God, when this place, the place in which I stand right now, wherever it is the place of my procession into God. Where I am right now is where God is waiting for me. What I'm doing right now is the site of my union with the life that is life and gives life. To have faith, I must put down my notions of separateness from God. I must make the effort to see God in this moment, I must let God speak to me through everything that seeps through the universe into the pores of my minuscule little life. Then the darkness of the night of the soul will disappear. Then I will find myself, as Abbess Sincletica promises, at the flashpoint of the divine fire. Then I will no longer doubt that I am not alone in the darkness.